I'm excited to bring on board here Andrea Bierer, my gosh.
So close. It's all good.
Andrea Bierer from not only DBC Construction, but also the GapCap.
The GapCap. You got it. Mm-hmm.
Do you use the?
No, just
GapCap.
It is GapCap.
It's GapCap.
Yeah, we're pretty
Did you come up with that name?
We did together. We worked on it, and our website is gapcapusa.com because we're really committed to keeping it manufactured, not just in the USA, but in Erie specifically.
Yeah, this is not like a thing that's getting drop shipped from China.
No, absolutely not. This is developed in Erie, invented in Erie, patented in Erie, and now it's manufactured, packaged, and leaving out of Erie to go all over the country.
So what is the GapCap?
So
GapCap.
So GapCap is a product meant to solve a decking problem. So when you build composite or treated lumber decks, either way, when you have these mitered corners, the top picture framing as well as the fascia on the sides, you have to do these really complex cuts.
Okay.
And then no matter how perfect you are, no matter how skilled you are, the weather and the temperature changes and those corners open up. And no matter how good you are, the physics of nature and temperature change are going to open those corners up. And so for years, my husband and I have been in construction. This is a problem we've had with callbacks. Customers don't like the opening. We feel like it's showing... It makes it look like we're not as skilled as we are. And so we were looking for a solution. We didn't set out to invent something. We set out to buy something. Figured this had to be on the market somewhere, and it wasn't. So Doug started monkeying in the garage and invented something and got help from Penn State and Gannon along the way, and then a lab in Erie did all the testing, and we are now injection molding this incredible product that solves that problem for deck contractors. It basically covers the gap, screws into the framing underneath, and allows the deck boards to expand and contract in a hidden way. So it just covers that gap.
I get it. So you're kind of riding on the top of the rail, and it's fastened underneath.
Yeah, it's fastened right into the framing, and then it leaves a channel for those boards to expand and contract, and it covers that corner.
That's pretty sweet.
And then the fascia cap, which is for the front, for the fascia sides, actually allows you, instead of doing a bevel cut, which is one of the really complicated cuts to get correct, and the boards cup, and it's just really, really hard for contractors to make that look perfect, no matter how good they are.
Yeah.
And now this allows you to flat cut that, squared up with the framing, and then the fascia cap covers it. It allows the expansion and contraction, and it saves a ton of time, looks better, and makes the customers happy. I even had one woman describe it as, it looks like jewelry for my deck. Is that not the best?
Yeah, that is the best. I'm really interested. I mean, usually when something like this happens, it is because somebody had an idea and you fully thought somebody else had the idea.
Everybody that comes through the show, I mean, today, we were here last year too, we were at the home show, they come through and they're like, oh, this is brilliant. Why didn't somebody think of this? Or I've been looking for this. Like, it just feels like it should have existed already. But we hunted, and a lot of contractors are coming up with their own solutions, but they take a lot of time. This is now really easy. It's cost effective. It saves them a ton of time. It has a 30-year warranty. It's a great product.
That's amazing. I love that, the injection molding piece. That's kind of what we do, part and parcel here in Erie, PA. We're big on that. And did you end up having to do 3D printed models? Like, how did you the development process?
We did.
Explain that a little bit.
So the first one, the idea, when Doug was trying to describe it to somebody, he's like, I think this is what we need to make. He made it out of wood and metal because that's what we had access to in our garage. But then he was showing it to a buddy who's an engineer and going, I'm trying to figure out what I should actually do. And the friend was like, well, I have a 3D printer at home. Let me mock one up for you, which then led to, oh, this is how we move on. We need to get 3D printing done by somebody who actually knows what to do.
Right.
So through actually a really great friend who's a professor at Penn State, he introduced us to a senior who had some time to work on projects like ours.
Nice.
And that senior took it in a matter of weeks from concept to I mean, just unbelievable how far he got it. And then he graduated and left, and we went to Gannon's makerspace, and Gannon helped us with the 2.0 model. Like, once we tried, the first guy printed several for us that we were able to try and install, which then led to going, oh, we need to fix or change this or that. So Gannon did the 2.0 version in the makerspace with 3D printers and helped us perfect a little bit more. And then we were ready to go to a local lab and work with their engineers to make a mold. And so we are at PSN Labs here in Erie, out by Penn State. They're on Cool Road, and they did all of their lab that does testing as well as manufacturing. So they were able to test the product for UV and flexibility and all of that stuff.
Sure.
And so then we were able to finalize our patent, and and now we're making them and shipping them and doing all the things.
Isn't like the big kahuna part of this making the actual mold for the injection?
Yes, it's a lot. It's a big upfront investment, hoping that people are going to buy this.
But once you have a mold,
yes,
you can literally make thousands and thousands of them.
Yes.
Is it easy enough to use that a DIYer can do it?
Absolutely. So DIYers are eventually going to love this, but straight up, they're not our target audience at the moment. Not that you couldn't do it, but the truth is, a DIYer, they will love it, but they're only going to buy it for one deck. For this to actually be a survivable product, this needs to be something contractors adopt, because a DIYer is not probably going for the same level of perfection.
Right.
And whereas a contractor also is going for perfection, doesn't want callbacks. So when a contractor has to go back out to a home and solve a problem, that's a $300 phone call. That's a $400 phone call just to send out a supervisor and fix a problem. So they understand what that will save their company if they don't have callbacks. And the other side of it is the contractors that were installing it last year went from an hour, on average, an hour per full corner, which was top cap and fascia, to about 15 or 20 minutes. So that's a massive time savings when you're doing that on every stair, on every corner of a deck. You're talking hours of labor that you've saved for a very minimal investment.
So they're folding it in now in their finishing process.
Yes. And it's a win-win-win, because it saves them callbacks, it saves them time, it doesn't cost them very much money, but the customers are happier. It's not like it saved them time and money and the customers are The customers love the way it looks, and so it's like just a win-win-win.
How do you decide, like, colors and, like, do you track with the major deck? I mean, we're talking TimberTech all day long here.
Well,
so you're, like, tracking with TimberTech, I would imagine.
We are. So we started with TimberTech, knowing that was the product that we personally had used when we were constructing decks. And so we talked to the TimberTech reps, found out what their two biggest selling colors were, and we color matched their brown and their gray top sellers.
Yeah.
And then black. So these are the things that you don't know till you take something to market. We assumed people would want to color match their deck, that they would want gray with gray, brown with brown,
Sure.
Nope. Number one seller is black. People like the accent color and the outline that it provides to their deck. And
there's the jewelry part.
Yes, by far, black has become the biggest seller. We've run way more runs of black than any other color.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. So, like, when you're trying to decide how much to make, and again, this is not just making the GapCap, you're packaging it.
Yes.
You are boxing it. How many in a crate to?
It was such an overwhelming thought even to get to that point. Like, this is all the learning curve.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, how many should we put in a box? What size do you make the box? We ended up finding out all of these things in the process that you have to figure out what shelving looks like at a distributor. And then your boxes can't be taller than their shelving, or they won't carry it just because they don't have a place to put it. Then we had to figure out and we worked with an amazing packaging company, local also, S&S Packaging. Big shout out to Brad Stewart. Love him.
There you go.
Love him.
Love Bradley.
But figuring out how many do you put?
He listens to the show, by the way.
Yeah, I love it. And how many do you put? How many should go on a pallet? how like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so he helped us with all of that, and we've got it narrowed down now and dialed in for what works for the what works not for the manufacturer, what works for the distributors, and then for the people like Frontier Lumber that are actually going to put it on a shelf. We found out we have to be able to have it both in a box that tears away as well as something that will hang on a display depending on the store and where they want to put it. So it's been multiple iterations, and then my kids were voluntold. They loved that part because the first run of packaging was done in our living room because we had to figure out if this was going to work. So the first, I don't remember how many thousand, was an assembly line of my husband, me, my son and daughter. And it was like, hey, this, just know your whole college tuition is wrapped up in this. So pray that it goes well.
We're talking to Andrea Bierer about GapCap. I want to take a minute, at least a couple minutes, because I could talk to you forever. Talk about DBC construction. You know, I mean, again, how does it start and grow like it has? Because I remember when DBC was Doug and his dad, Dana. And that was about it.
Doug, Dana, and a truck.
And a truck. Doug, Dana, and two guys in a truck, right?
You got it. That's where it started. My daughter was 6 months old when Doug decided to quit his job and start his own business, because that's a great time to be unemployed.
Wow.
It's fantastic. And that was also in 2007, so no financial crisis hit after that at all. I mean, you know, nothing bad happened that impacted our lives.
Oh, my God. My word.
But
she's being facetious, folks.
Yes, indeed. But no, this was his dream, and his dream wasn't just to start a business and make money. Doug's dream was to have a place that improved lives. And I sometimes feel like a broken record, but it is the heartbeat of what made DBC remodeling special. It is what still makes us special, because it's not just a business to him. He wants the employees' lives to be improved, the customers' lives to be improved, our vendors' lives to be improved. And so that's the lens that we built the business through. It's the lens that we make all of our decisions through. We're not perfect. We screw up, but we're trying to build that kind of company that honors our customers, honors our employees, and brings joy to the home improvement process.
How has that evolved? I mean, again, you know, going from two guys in a truck to multiple teams. Certainly, you know, you win awards for like pretty high-end kitchen installs and stuff like that. And congratulations. But I mean, that's an evolution, and that's saying no to a lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah, we had to decide. We went from there was the growth, especially in 2020, we had to restructure to survive after the shutdown. And we were about 25 employees then. We're about 55 employees now. And we had to make a lot of decisions. We don't do this anymore. We don't do this because it's not... We need to specialize, and we're going to pick the 3 areas that we're the best at, and we're going to be better at them than anybody else, is what we're trying to do. And so that's kind of what we do now. We take a lot of pride in our work. We do kitchen and bath custom. We do basement finishing and waterproofing, and we do decks and sunrooms. That's kind of our jam.
That's your jam. And okay, so you were able to double in size in 5 years. Mm-hmm. How hard has that been to find the right people that have the skills, and especially young people? Yeah,
so it is hard. It is, I mean, it's not like we're immune to what's going on in the skilled trades, but here's what I will say is Doug's dream to create a place that treated people with dignity, honor, and joy does set it apart. So our goal is not just to recruit people. We want to be the employer of choice. We want people to, like, we worked really, really hard to get DBC to a place where we offer full insurance, full benefits, retirement plan, all of these things that are not really normal maybe for a construction company of, a small one. And so we're excited to offer that, and we're really trying to give people a place where they can grow as a person and be proud of their work. And there are other great people out there doing great things, not putting any of them down. We're just trying to create a really unique place that attracts people who want to be part of that growing culture. So it's hard. We interview a lot. We're very selective, but on the same token, we honestly, the right people seem to find us, and we're really grateful for that.
That's awesome. What would you say, given your relationship with Frontier Lumber and people like, you know what, I may want to do that basement, or I may want to do that sunrooms are very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that whole thing. But a lot of folks will come and start a conversation, let's say, at Frontier.
Right.
So talk about what you would hope somebody would be asking about that maybe that DBC can add value to that.
So you mean they're coming and they don't know what contractor they're looking for?
They don't know the contractor, or which way to go, or maybe not even thinking like a sunroom, or maybe the solution to their basement is a product like you guys sell, or whatever.
Always start with your why. Why are you trying to do something? So not just, sometimes the why is I want to improve the value of my house, but most of the time the why is emotional. It is I want more room in my kitchen so that we're all together on Thanksgiving. I want to make memories with my teenagers, and the best place to do that is in a finished basement. Like, there's a why. It's normally not just about a room. If you know the why, then it's easier to figure out what solution is actually going to give you that, not just what room of the house you're remodeling. Sometimes the why is my basement leaks, or my bathroom is the tiles are falling off the wall. But
it's
a lot
of perfunctory.
Yeah. One of the biggest areas we're really pushing into that's so satisfying is technically called universal design, but it's like living in place, aging in place. So making homes and bathrooms, remodeling them so that they're accessible to people to stay till the end of their life, not just, a lot of these 1960s and 70s homes don't have bathrooms that are accessible, don't have kitchens that'll allow you to get a wheelchair around in them or a walker. And so we're making modifications that are within a reasonable budget that will allow them to stay in their home. It's been a really exciting area that we're really pressing into.
That's a great deal, because honestly, where are they going to find a home?
Correct.
There's no. We've always said, if they could build 50. $300,000 ranches, they'd be scooped up in about a week.
Yeah.
But nobody's building them.
No. And a lot of people, especially if you've aged to the point where you're considering that, you like where you live. You didn't move for a reason. You love your neighbors. You love your neighborhood. So if we can help people. There's all sorts of research about aging in place and what it does for their purpose and their mental health to stay where they're familiar and where they're happy. And so that's another one of those, we can do this, we can do it really, really well, and it brings honor and joy to our customers, honor and joy to our employees. That's kind of the DBC way.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
GapCap, where can they find it?
Frontier Lumber is awesome. Come to Frontier Lumber, buy your top cap, fascia cap, and talk to the guys, and they'll be happy to help you out.
And get it in black, because that's the fancy one.
That's the fancy color.
Andrea Bierer, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Joel.